Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Esper Murktide Control. That's right, Murktide. I'm playing a full 4 of them because they are going to help us cross the finish line. Let's talk about what the rest of the deck looks like supporting our Murktides. We are in Esper, so we have access to the greatest removal spell ever printed, Swords of Plowshares. We also have access to the second or third, depending on what you're looking at, best removal spell ever printed, Prismatic Ending. Then we have great hand disruption in 3 Thoughtseizes, and because we're in black, we have Psychic Frog, the best creature currently available in Legacy. So Psychic Frog, Murktide, they're going to help do some PB and J high-fiving and help us get across the finish line. We also have Tamiyo as an engine, and we've got a Brazen Borrower. We have these Lorien Reveals, which are kind of like mana, but they're also kind of like a long game plan. In case the game drags on, we can start recurring them potentially with Mystic Sanctuary. Let's look at the mana base. 3 Tundras, 3 Underground Seas. We're not messing around. We want to have our colors. We have 8 fetches, and we have a basic island. 3 Wastelands. So we're not going all 4 Wastelands. We're not going all 4 Dazes either. So we're kind of occupying a middle ground between control and mid-range. We do have a Spell Pierce in here to complement the Dazes, which importantly does not get stopped by Vexing Bauble. Nothing in this deck will get stopped by Vexing Bauble except for Force of Will and Daze. C'est la vie. But I feel like we're really well positioned against the field. The main reason is Murktide is very difficult to remove right now. Most decks are playing cards like Kozilek's Command, Fatal Push that don't actually hit Murktide, or it's extremely difficult for a Kozilek's Command to be big enough that it hits a Murktide. And Murktide flies over Eldrazi threats. It potentially walls a Psychic Frog on the other side of the field. Very strong. We also have access to really good sideboard cards because we're in white. So we have Lavinia and we have Containment Priest. So I've arranged our sideboard in 3 different piles here. We've got the anti-Eldrazi tech in Harbinger and Consigned Memory. You might be thinking, Harbinger, you're not playing any basic planes or basic swamps. What do you plan to do if you stick a Harbinger and you draw like Prismatic Ending or Plow or something? And the answer is we're just not going to cast those spells. We'll pitch them to Frog if a Frog's on the field, or we'll just kind of like hope that we can outrace our opponent. We do have a single Brazen Borrower in our deck, and the reason that's in there, in addition to just being an exceptional Magic the Gathering card, is because if we Tamiyo Ultimate and our opponent has something like a Blood Moon on the table, we can just use our 1 island to Brazen Borrower that back, and then we'll have access to potentially double blue to cast a lethal Murktide or a Frog. So yes, I'm kind of torn about this, but I feel like it's so powerful to disrupt the Eldrazi mana base that it's worth it. In terms of the other big bads, so the 3 big bads in Legacy right now are Eldrazi, Reanimator, and Painter. For Painter, we've got a Null Rod, we've got 2 Hydroblasts. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. For Reanimator, we've got Containment Priest, which is exceptionally good and way better than Grafdigger's Cage, if you can stick it. Way more inclusive, like hits a lot of other decks that can show up in the format, like Sneak and Show. And we've got 3 Surgical Extractions. We're just not messing around with cards that cost mana to cast. We need to be able to, exile the whatever threat they got with Entomb before they can reanimate it. And then just general purpose anti-control matchup cards, Orcish Bowmasters. We do draw a lot of cards in our deck, so we may want to board this in if we suspect our opponent is bringing it in, because the best answer to a Orcish Bowmasters is an Orcish Bowmasters. With that, we are going to do what we always do, which is 5 leagues of Legacy action. If you notice me making a misplay, or if you have a question about some play I made, please leave a comment. It's so helpful, because I am just trying to get better as a player. I want to become a better pilot. I want to be able to play well, play tight, and play with endurance, because Eternal Weekend, which is coming up, is a long tournament. Last year, it was 11 rounds, and it was 9 rounds on the first day. And my brain was mush. And so I'm playing these leagues every day to keep myself sharp and build in that kind of muscle memory. And I am really looking forward to this. I hope you'll learn alongside me. Leave a comment with your thoughts. If you subscribe, that's a huge help, because I'm getting closer to the 1,000 subscriber threshold, after which I will be able to become a MTGO creator in their program, and I will be able to play basically any deck I want without having to be limited by the cards I actually own, which are mostly just a bunch of blue spells. So if you want to see me play a broader range of decks, consider subscribing. Thanks, and I'll see you in round 1. All right, round 1, we are going straight into the fire. We are playing against a blue-black Reanimator deck. I'm going to keep this hand. It doesn't have turn 0 interaction, but I do like Thoughtseize and the ability to potentially strip a frog or some other critical spell. They have mulliganed. I have no basics to get. Well, I technically have a basic island, but I'm not going to get that. Yeah, that's a pretty bad draw there. I think we do start with a Thoughtseize here. And if they daze, they daze. If they daze and reanimate, or daze and entomb, we're screwed. But I think this is the way we go. They may, one benefit is they may assume that we're on Reanimator, because this is a very common like blue-black Reanimator opening here. They're thinking about it. This is a very experienced player, by the way. This player has like tons more reps than I do, and they're playing the best deck in the format. And yeah, it's pretty much like the nightmare pairing for round 1, but I'm going to do my best here. And we're on the draw. Okay, so they do have Entomb. So we basically just had to hope that we're able to strip. If they have 2 reanimation effects, we're screwed. They don't have any reanimation effects. Well, I'm definitely going to take this Fatal Push just because like nothing in their hand does anything. Like it's, yeah, and we just have to hope that they don't have it. They have like 7 top decks probably. They probably waste here. Okay, they're going to try to surveil and just increase the likelihood, or they drew an Animate Dead. They drew a Psychic Frog, which is a good card. All right, let's see if we can rip a Plow here. Brainstorm into Plow would be good since they don't have days. All right, that's bad. That's very bad. I definitely could have Tamiyo there, but I was just like hoping to high roll and hit. Yeah, so I think I'm going to put that away. I'm just going to go ahead and get a Tundra, and the jig will be up. They'll know what we're on here. But we have another fetch anyway. It doesn't really matter to me. So they know we're not on that anymore. Yeah, and they're going to be able to connect with Psychic Frog, and they can just effortlessly discard any other threats they find. But this is probably like the reanimation effect. We can see more of their deck, but yeah, this game is over, unfortunately. And it's not like super lucky that they drew it. They have 7 reanimation effects in their deck, and we didn't find a Force or a Plow. Even if we found a Plow and dealt with this, we'd still be dead to this. I'm just going to take a look at what they revealed. We did reveal we're on Esper, so that may change their sideboarding a little bit. Archon of Cruelty, they are playing this. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop here. There's no coming back from that. I think even with the Plow, I don't think we're likely to come back, because we'd have to brainstorm into removal, and they have a Daze in their hand probably. I didn't even see what they put in their hand. Animate Dead, Daze, yeah. And then they've got Archon of Cruelty. So the next time, oh, they have Animate Dead for Archon too. So yeah, it's just like once this Atraxa hits the table, things get very bad for you very quickly. All right, so Surgicals are coming in. I don't think that they board off their combo plan here, and Containment Priest comes in. Cards that are coming out. Prismatic Ending is mediocre against them. Really, the only thing that it can hit is a Frog. I think we could probably trim both of these. And then Spell Pierce is good. I still like Daze. We could cut a couple Forces. I mean, Lavinia, I don't think they're playing Unmask, so Lavinia is pretty bad. Just stopping like Force is not worth it. Yeah, I think we probably run it like that. We may want to keep more Forces. Let me take another look and see if there's anything totally dead. I think Prismatic Ending is dead enough that we could probably... I'd rather be able to force a Frog on the stack than have to pay 2 mana to remove a Frog. I like the Thoughtseize. Yep, let's do it. All right, we have a Thoughtseize Plow hand with a Tamiyo. This is pretty good. I think we open Thoughtseize, and then, yeah, I'm going to keep this. They may have a Thoughtseize of their own. We have plenty of mana. I like Tamiyo, but I'm not going to play her out turn 1. The borrower is not nothing. I mean, it could potentially bounce like a troll or something. Okay, they have 7 cards in their hand as well. Let's both go down to 6, shall we? I did put 3 Thoughtseize in my deck with the intention of ripping apart some combo hands. Okay, they do have their own Thoughtseize. Animate Dead, they have Orcish Bowmasters. Like, their hand is definitely scary. Psychic Frog can be reanimated. The most distinct thing in their hand is definitely the Animate Dead. If we take any sort of creature here, they can just reanimate it. And they'll be able to do that at basically the same mana cost as though they just cast it. I think we take Animate Dead. The other alternative is we take Thoughtseize, and then they don't know what they're up against, but we know what we're playing. I think I'm going to just take the Thoughtseize here. So let's take another look at their hand. So now that the Thoughtseize is gone, they have 2 threats and they have an Animate Dead. Maybe we just don't give them anything to reanimate by plowing all their stuff. I'm definitely going to play out Tamiyo here, and I'm going to hope to flip her so we can start regrowing our plow. Regrowing your plow is really strong against rescam. All right, so they have Undercity Sewers in hand and 1 unknown after that ponder. I think I'm just going to go and play... I could play this out and then... Yeah, because I don't suspect that they have days, and I would like to crack clues. If they Psychic Frog, I think I just plow immediately. This Swamp is a new card. Yeah, I'm going to attempt to plow instep. And I don't think they could have days because their new card is Swamp, unless I'm misaccounting for something. If they have days, it's like low possibility they have days. I'm going to go ahead and plow here. And then I do have Brazen Borrower if things get messy. They pitched an Archon. That's scary, and that sucks because they can just Archon next turn. They don't even need Entomb. They can just discard it. Yeah, it's bad. Another plow helps with Archon. The best, yeah, I think we just attack and we draw. They do have an Undercity Sewers. If I draw a Wasteland off this, I could potentially waste them, and that would put the Archon back a turn. I think I'm going to do it. All right, we didn't get but we did get Underground Sea, but like there's no point in flipping this here. I'm just going to hold my horses, and yeah, I'll have to sacrifice that when Archon comes in. It sucks, and I'll pitch the Underground Sea as well. Hopefully they don't draw a waste for my white source. Yeah. Bye-bye, Tamiyo. At least you got 1 card back. But again, flipping doesn't matter because you have to discard a creature or a planeswalker. So she's not going to be able to save herself by flipping here. All right. They go up a ton of life. Surveil land. All right, so I'm going to cross off the cards that are no longer in their hand. They just had that Bowmasters that I know of. Okay. Waiting in my upkeep for some reason. Okay, Psychic Frog's good. I'm going to start with this because this has to resolve. Otherwise, the game's over. Okay, that worked. Options. I think the best option is to just put a Psychic Frog out there. And we can figure out... Like, I definitely could have cast Brainstorm there because they are likely going to play Bowmasters next turn. Yeah, maybe it was better to Brainstorm there. I can just pitch the Brainstorm if I need to, though. To Frog. It's not as good as actually brainstorming, though. I probably should have brainstormed there. Okay. Fatal Push. Nothing I can do about that. And there's the land that they need to cut us off white or to potentially play a Bowmasters. This is bad news. So we're going to have like nothing in our hand, basically. Yeah, I'm almost certain they're gonna take us off Tundra here. It makes sense to do so. Yep. Okay, and this is the weakness in playing 3-color decks, but we signed up for this. Most of our decks blue. Murktide would be huge here. I'm not going to complain about a Thoughtseize. I'm going to fire it off and hopefully knock something good out of their hand. I'll just knock this Bowmasters out. They can reanimate it, of course, but it's better than them being able to cast it, because now they have to draw a reanimate, and it gives us a short window to draw a surgical, which we have 3 of in our deck. They're going to cycle probably here. Oh, man. Reanimate on Bowmasters. Yep, not surprising. Take some damage here. We are losing the race because of the Archon gained them like 6 life. Okay, I'm just going to do this, and then what I'll do is I'll probably bounce the Orc Army out of play after they attack, and then I can cast it the following turn. Yep. Of course, they already know that the Brazen Borrower is here, so they're not going to like wait around, and they're not going to, you know, invest a reanimation effect in the troll probably. That's fine. We don't have any surveillance in our deck. I definitely could have put them in there. I just wasn't sure that we needed them. Okay, I am just going to go ahead and get this out of play right now. I don't know what they have on top of their deck. This could be a bad play, but like I want to keep us alive long enough to draw into our answers. The worst draws in our deck involve... Oh, the best draw is still a Murktide. Murktide would be huge. If we can find a Murktide. We have 4 of them. That's not a good draw. I think we actually have to do this, though. I'm not going to wait. Like, I'm losing if I wait around. Yep. Ouch. But we did find a Murktide. They've got a huge army. We're taking a ton of damage. So we're taking 3 damage now. Now we're fetching, and then we're Murktiding. But I don't think that there was anything we could have done there. If we'd waited, we would have taken a bunch. They would have gained some life. Situation would have been worse. So what I'll do here is I'll get my Tundra, and then this turn I'm playing out Murktide, and next turn I am playing out the Fairy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll leave a Plow in the yard. I definitely could have also gotten rid of the... I just need to... If they attack with Psychic Frog, I'm going to kill it. Like, they can only really safely attack. Okay, yeah, and they win the game. The game's over. Yep. All right, we tried. We definitely tried. It's a tough matchup. I do think maybe I made an error at some point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong in this matchup and why it's so devastating. If you think I made some sort of error, please let me know. Because I definitely want to improve this matchup, because I'm almost certainly going to be playing against it all Eternal Weekend long. And I did tune my deck to, respect this. I've got a ton of respect for this deck in the sideboard. 3 Surgicals and a Containment Priest. It just wasn't enough. The Plows, though, were great. I mean, you probably saw like how strong it is to be able to remove a threat and just have it gone so they can't bring it back. I know it's not the best showing of Plow and the Esper shell just getting completely destroyed in 2 games. But I think you'll hopefully agree that we did put up a fight there. See you in round 2. All right, we're back for round 2 against a likely Eldrazi opponent. We're on the play. I like this hand. I like the basic. Prismatic Ending does cover a lot of things that could be throwing our way. I think we go ahead, unlike most decks where you want to hold your ponder until you know what you're up against, I think we just ponder here for momentum because it does feed the Murktide. Yeah, and then we can potentially dodge around extra lands by fetching next turn. Also, getting a 1-drop out of our hand is not the worst if they're going to potentially be on... Okay, they kept 7. If they're potentially on Chalice of the Void, which I think most Eldrazi decks are playing that now over Vexing Bubble. Tamiyo's great. Spell Pierce, not bad. We don't have a way to flip Tamiyo, but we have plenty of land. I think I keep this. Yeah, all right. And if we have to daze for some reason, we're definitely playing the fetch and we're shuffling away that extra Tundra. Ancient Tomb. Petal. I would love to daze a 3-drop here. Chalice on 1. We can't daze it. We just have to live with it, but not for long because we do have Prismatic Ending. So I think what we do this turn is we just go get Prismatic Ending, we get rid of it. And then we can Tamiyo and do other things next turn. Prismatic Ending, removing pretty much all the problematic permanents from the lower half of the curve, which is most of the curve for most decks. All right, and I'm optimistic that this Daze will still find a home. 5 cards in hand over there. Next turn, I'm thinking probably Tamiyo and Psychic Frog. Spell Pierce is not particularly good against them. Really, the only non-creature spells they have are Kozilek's Command and Chalice. Okay, so this is potentially mana for the big one, the Myco Spawn. If they are going to get the search, do I want to Daze the Myco Spawn itself? I could Daze it and I get my land back. I actually think that's fine, and then we can connect with... let's see what land they get first. They did get the Wasteland. I think I'm just going to Daze this back just so we don't have to worry about losing it. Oh no, I can freaking... yeah, that was a mistake. I didn't think about the fact that they can just tap the Wasteland now. That was a mistake. That was dumb. Yeah, I'm used to countering it on the stack before the land comes out, and I should have probably done that if I wanted to Daze that. Sorry for the mistake there. You don't need to leave a comment. I realize what a boneheaded play that was. Okay, so actually we could just play a pretty big Murktide that'll be hard for them to answer here. Here's what I think I'm going to do. They're going to waste anyway. So, yeah, I'm just going to play this out. And I'm going to start beating them over the head with it. It'll be a 6/6 initially. But that's bigger than their Sowing Myco Spawn. And Eldrazi has a pretty hard time dealing with this card. Yeah, I just totally wish I had a Daze in my hand right now. That would be so much better than what I have now. All right, let's Murk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming in hot. Our 4 Murktide deck. Let's see how good this is against Eldrazi. They're going to need the mother of all Kolaghan's commands, or they're going to need to use that kicker guy, which they don't have the colored mana for currently. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're getting kind of close to a Devourer of Destiny here. Thought-Knot is fine. I don't even care about my hand. I wouldn't mind resolving a Psychic Frog, but I'm not going to cry if they make me discard it. This does mean they're going to see the Spell Pierce, so they can just play around it by casting smaller Kozilek's commands. Yeah. All right, so we hit them for 6. They hit us for 7. We hit them for 6. They hit us for 7. We're still winning the race. I'm going to still smash. Okay, they've seen our hand. There's no point in playing out this Misty Rainforest here. I'll play with the Tundra instead. I'm going to go ahead and play this out, I guess. She will attack next turn and give us a flip. And if I can flip, or she'll give us a clue. And if I can flip her somehow, debuffing my opponent's squad will be good. Main thing I'm worried about is them having glistening Fleshraker into Kozilek's Command. But I'm not going to block yet. Tamiyo is definitely going to attack at least once. She's got to earn her keep. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're not quite to Devourer of Destiny mana, and they didn't have Devourer as their opener. Another Thought-Knot. This does speed up the clock a bit. Yeah, nothing I can do. So let's see. If we take 7 this turn, that's no bueno. They can't tap that tomb. I think we just take this. Next turn, we're looking at taking 11. So we will be dead. We'll need to block with Tamiyo. I guess I could have blocked just in case they do have a removal spell here. Hope it doesn't come out of that. I can flip Tamiyo this turn. Flip Tamiyo, and this becomes, this attacks for 3, this attacks for 3, this attacks for 2. So a total of 8. Even if, if they had it that heralds the end somehow, if that was like their top card, that would be a problem. I'm going to see what I get off Ponder before I decide whether I'm going to attack. Plow gets me a card off Thought-Knots here. I think it's worth doing. It doesn't change the clock any. This Daze is pretty terrible, but I am going to draw it. So let's go ahead and go to attack. Attack with both of these. I definitely wish that I had... Yeah, in order to flip her, I need to actually tap my mana here. Oh, I'm not going to be able to rip the Wasteland anyway. Okay, I don't want the Wasteland anymore. I want something else. I'm going to go ahead and fetch. I'll get a black source. They already know about frogs, so I'm not revealing anything here. I'm going to go ahead and flip the clue first. Actually, I can hold the clue because I get a card when I kill this. Yeah, I'll just chill. I'll plow next turn. They can't counter it. Okay, that's a good card for next turn. I'm going to plus here. Now I think I'm in the clear as long as they can't somehow remove this. I do wish I had the wasteland though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's enough for the Devourer of Destiny. This is the bounce effect. It looks like they're tapping blue, maybe. It's pretty devastating. I'm going to wait till they figured out what they're going to attack before I plow. Because they may just ignore Tamiyo. And if they do, then I can get my plow back. Okay, they are attacking her with... So this one's attacking me. So she's dead either way. I might as well plow this and save some life. Wait, is she dead either way? No, if I plow this one and I just take 3 here, I can plus her again. I think that will be worth doing. So I'll plow this one. She'll take 2. They are gaining some life. They can now tap their thing. Okay, another Tamiyo, which can serve as a chump blocker. So I'll drop to 7. All right, let's see what we can do here. We're definitely going to plus this. Okay, so I can redeploy Murktide as a smaller Murktide. I'm going to go... I should have waited. I shouldn't have played that land. This is good. Psychic Frog can potentially block. Kind of like just plowing the other Thought-Knots here after they attack. Okay, so I could actually just plow it now. And then that's more for the... Yeah, actually, if I'd stacked that differently, I could have plowed and gotten both of them out of that. Because we know the top card is another... yeah, I'm just going to do like this. Blue, blue, Murktide again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, wait. How did I get this plow back into my hand? I just drew it. Like somehow I missed that. Yeah, I do want the extra power here just to ensure that I can kill. Yeah, I guess I could have technically gone for Mystic Sanctuary there. Just hit this. It's the larger of the 2 creatures. Yeah, I mean, them gaining life doesn't really matter. It's going to take me 2 strikes anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that does technically remove the ability for Tamiyo to minus here. But we'll end the game very quickly, and now tapping Ancient Tomb is a problem for them again. They've got 1 card in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not quite enough to exile with with Kozilek's Command if they have it. Devourer of Destiny, though, can kill it. And it looks like that might be what they're doing here. No? What costs 5, 6, 7? Yeah, I think it's Devourer. Yep, that is a bummer. A super duper bummer. They can't attack Tamiyo now, and because I took the plow out, I can't regrow it to hit this, so I'm looking pretty dead here. Yeah, I mean, like them having both of these cards, I'm not sure how lucky that is, what the density of them are, but I do stand behind most of my decisions that game. I think I could have played slightly tighter and probably gotten the plow back, and that might have made the difference there. All right, so even if we plus, we're still taking 6, I believe. That's a pretty good draw. I think what we do here is we just plus and make a 3/3 Murktide that can block one of these. And we'll go to 1. And then we'll figure out the Devourer situation next turn. We are dead. Oh, I have Ugin. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good card where you can tutor your deck to find more Devourers every turn. I don't see how we win this now. All right, they're just attacking with the Devourer probably at Tamiyo. I think we just let Tamiyo go. We don't have anything to recur. There's not really any upside. We're not going to keep her alive for 2 turns, are we? So let's see. This is a 5. We draw half our deck. That is a way to win. but I'm pretty sure next turn they just attack us for lethal. We could put a Tamiyo out, and so let's say hypothetically we block here. She goes up to 7. They can attack with this and attack her down to 6. I don't think it's worth saving her here, sadly. So cards that do it, not very many. Like a Brainstorm might do it. A Brainstorm into... Okay, that definitely doesn't do it. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. Let's see. Maybe no, I'm going to play it out one more turn. I'll play this out. So we now have a blocker for this, and we can chump here. And then we can potentially attack, get a card. I don't know. I feel like I'm super dead. They can just activate Eye. I think we're just going to concede because they can activate Eye every turn. I think it's 7 plus the activation. We'll see. See, 7. Yeah, 7 tap, and they do have 7 mana. Okay, well, that was disappointing. I feel like we were in a pretty good position for a while there, and then it just kind of fell apart. So I'm hoping that our sideboard comes in handy here. So Consigned Memories coming in. Harbingers coming in. I don't think any of these other cards are good against them. Cards that are bad. Brazen Borrower is pretty bad against them because they just, like, everything has like this ETB or on cast ability. And also the fact that it can't block creatures with flying makes it pretty bad. Tamiyo's pretty bad. I think Spell Pierce is really bad here. It also gets countered by Chalice, which they are definitely playing. We can take some number of endings out, but I'm kind of reluctant to because they did open Chalice there. And Prismatic Ending can hit some creatures. It's not totally dead. I think Daze is not the greatest in this matchup in general. Usually I take out some number of Ponder. I think we take out 2 Tamiyo because they're playing Chalice, and Thoughtseize is not actually that bad, but I don't want to draw multiples. Like, I would want to draw 1 max. Let's do this. Thoughtseize is definitely a candidate for cards you board out in the Chalice aggro matchup, but since we're on the play, like, I'm definitely boarding it out on the draw. All right. So let's see how our 7 is. It's not terrible. It's not proactive in any way. Mystic Sanctuary is kind of like a mulligan. And then we're kind of like pushed into fetching white, so we have access to it later. Daze is pretty bad. I think I'm going to mulligan this. This just doesn't excite me. It doesn't spark joy. This is much better. I'm going to keep this, and I will bottom the second Force of Will. I think because I have a white card, I'm least scared of losing Underground Sea here if they open Waste for some reason, which they almost never do. Murktide's great. So I think Murktide's going to be the last card we draw. I want to make sure I draw it, though. Prismatic Ending might be good. It might not be good. Yeah, I'll do it like this. I'll draw the Murktide now. I have Force if they somehow get like an explosive Thought here, but Murktide is our surest way of winning in this matchup. Make no mistake. All right, so they are wasting, which is fine. We're going to draw a non-land card here. And now we can... Do we want to go ahead and ponder? I think we do. I'm going to go Island Ponder here because I do want to set up a land for next turn. And if that means we have to force the Murk, so be it. Doesn't look like we have to, though. Definitely don't want that. I'll just take the Brainstorm next turn. And now we have Force Up. Cards we are scared of. Sowing Myco Spawn, because that can exile this and it can also go get a Wasteland for our second land. Okay, they have a slow start here. It's too bad they didn't give us anything to force because we could have used that to power out a Prismatic Ending. I am thinking... Like, we've seen most of the cards below here, but there could be a fetch, and I would like to have a fetch instead of having a Brainstorm up. And this I feel like Ending probably past its best by date. Oh, wow. Yeah, so... Oh, we could waste them, and we could just redraw one of these endings, or we could just fetch away the ending completely. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put these endings on top, and I think they're not going to matter. I'll just play this out, and then if they do matter, I can keep it around because we can potentially hit a 3-drop with it. We don't have Force Up anymore, though, which is kind of disconcerting. Next turn, I'm definitely going to, well, I'm definitely going to hit that for sure. Okay. Do they have something they're exiling here? Just Glaring Fleshraker? It's fine. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the plow here. And then I can plow and then I can Murktide and waste. I think that sounds pretty strong. The advantage of being on the play here. So we're not going to have black mana, but again, it's not the worst. Drawing a force is perfect. Blue. This will probably be the last non-Force of Will spell we cast this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fetch. Blue. So we're going to have 7/7. It's slightly more than 3 turn clock. Blast Zone. Not the scariest land. Tamiyo is great. I'm going to play her out for sure. I could hold her as a blue card just to protect our Murktide. I think it's better. I think I'm going to do that. And I'm going to play this land out because they're, who knows how many of our lands they're going to get rid of. I'm going to ride this Murktide to victory. Hopefully I'll draw another blue card. I am going to regret not playing out Tamiyo if they kick this, but they don't have a kicker. This isn't flying. It feels like that's a misplay. Like, why would you play that out? It's not like strong. I would just hold it and look for more mana. Maybe they have a second one. Psychic Frog's good. We can't use it, but it does pair with our Force of Will. So we're just going to start attacking face here. I think I'm going to go ahead and play out the Tamiyo. Just because I'll be really sad and embarrassed if they bounce this and we don't have anything going on. There's a wasteland that I don't care about particularly. But it is a source of colorless mana for them. They didn't have blue mana, which is why they couldn't use the Wastegate bounce trigger. If you cast white and blue, return target creature to hand. The fact that it exiles artifacts and enchantments, man, this is so strong. This card is ridiculous. I mean, it's not like an unfair card. It costs a ton of mana, and you have to structure your deck around playing it, but it is a very strong card. It's a great tool in the Eldrazi toolbox. So Micah Spawn, Kozilek's Command, and they are also, they're surveilling too. I don't want them to be able to surveil. I'm going to counter this. They're not completely dead on board, but they're pretty low now. Yeah, and just to double check, this will kill any, I think this will kill a flip Tamiyo. Yeah, any non-land permanent. So, yeah, I mean, they could have definitely just killed her if they had time. All right, let's go to round game 3. All right, as I said, Thoughtseize pretty bad on the draw. It's also forces me into black, which I don't really want to actively fetch black. I think Borrower can come back in. I think Tamiyo can come back. Let's see. Containment Priest doesn't do anything. Spell Pierce, not the absolute worst. Bowmasters, super weak against their deck. They don't have a single creature that has 1 toughness. I think Spell Pierce is probably better. I would love to remove these dazes, but I mean, they pitched a force, and maybe they're not going to expect them on the draw. It is really weak playing daze against the like Ancient Tomb deck that's on the draw or that's on the play. But I think it's better than Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize just like, I don't want to be taking damage. I don't want to be casting 1-drops. This would be a great hand if it had better mana, but I can't keep this. This is also a pretty janky, terrible hand. I mean, we have Lorien, so we could open Wasteland into Lorien. I don't hate it. We get the basic island. I think we're almost certainly pitching Days to Force. I don't want to put back Murktide because that's how we win. Yeah, I think the card to put back is probably the Sanctuary. Man, if they can't turn 1 Thought-Knot Seer, though. I was going to say if they got rid of that somehow, they'd be catastrophic. They might Wasteland my Wasteland. Yeah, I don't want this in my opening hand. All right. Do your worst, opponent. They are on 7 on the play with the most powerful deck in the format other than Blue-Black Reanimator. But definitely like, yeah, that's fine. No play, huh? I really hope I draw a land so I can just waste them. Nope. I'll play this and I'll pass. And they're probably like, why didn't you waste me? Thank goodness he didn't waste me. Daze does nothing here. Backup Psychic Frog is probably the pitch to Force of Will now, just so we have some protection when we have Daze next turn. But Daze is a pretty terrible card in this situation. Lorien Revealed isn't being played by very many decks, so my opponent might be puzzled as to why I didn't waste there, especially if they don't have other... when somebody like non-basic pass, like you almost always want to waste that. If this is Thought Seer, I'll be so happy because I can actually interact with that. I think Daze probably is the pitch. Now the question is, can we afford to get a non-basic? I don't think we can. I think we have to get an island here just because Murktide is how we win, and I just need to maximize the likelihood that we don't get that destroyed. Consign is a great pickup. Oh man, I hate to do this, but I think I am going to go ahead and waste here. It doesn't do anything. It would be great to be able to consign plus trigger, but I feel like if their mana base is bad, then this punishes them. Okay, Cavern's great for them. Maybe they pass. Because they would probably... Maybe they would have played Glaring Fleshwrecker last turn if they had it. This is probably Glaring Fleshwrecker. Yeah, it's a very scary card that I don't have anything that I can do about. Another Wasteland isn't the worst because we could get rid of the Cavern. Get Consign a Memory turn back on. That's great. I think we have to Frog here. I'm going to go get my Underground Sea, and I'm basically just going to hope that they don't have a way to remove it, even though they have tons of ways of removing it in their deck. But, like, I need to get cards in my graveyard before I can get Murktide out. That's the real threat. So if we can get, like, a track like a Dismember or something to this. Okay, now they really are cooking. Like, we're dead. Look at their mana base. Like, they've got 3 mana. Every card they cast is going to trigger Glaring Fleshwrecker. Everything's cheaper. Kozilek's Command. Yes, our Frog is very dead. They're creating an Eldrazi spawn token as well. Oh, a lot of direct damage coming our way. And then we're going to take 2 to the face, and they might have more spells too. They haven't even cast the uncounterable spell. Murktide could still flip the script if we find a fetch here or a wasteland. Yep, that's not going to do it. You know what I didn't realize, what I didn't think about is the fact that we could have pitched something to Psychic Frog there, and then we could have had Murktide this turn. That would have been so much better than what we did. Yeah, it just didn't even occur to me that I could do that. That was not a heads up play. It was a heads down play. Head buried in the sand play. Yeah, and now we're going to lose our freaking... Yep, that's bad. That is bad, team. We can go all in on this. These now have power. So they're one... this is going to hit for 3. These... so I'm basically, at this point, I'm just going to pitch my entire hand to Frog. But... You know, Frog has to fly to deal damage. They have a full life bar over there. There's no way they don't attack. But I will happily, you know, block Glaring Fleshwrecker and pitch a bunch of cards. Oh, wow, they don't attack? Okay, well, they can just build up an Alpha Strike. They have that luxury. I think we do need to ponder here. Sequence of draws that could save me. You know, obviously land is going to be the primary thing I need. This doesn't have land. I'm just going to shuffle it. It's really land or bust here. Okay, that's not bad. But is it good? Not really. We could take them off I. Let's see. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They don't, or this doesn't count. So yeah, if we hit this now, that does crimp their mana a little bit. Think we do have to hang back. Let's see. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 swipes and we're dead. The other alternative is flying over. I think we do need to hold back so we can trade though. I'm going to take out the eye and hope that they don't have another one. It feels like every time I wasteland the eye, they have another one, but I'm going to do that. It just gives them a lot of explosiveness. If we can survive long enough to get a Murktide in play, Murktide is still good. I'm going to pitch Consign. I'm going to pitch Murktide, but I'm not going to pitch. If they exile my land, I'll be so sad. If they're attacking here, I mean, it's... Wow. I just can't believe they don't attack there. That's crazy to me. All right. I mean, if you're not going to attack, I'm just going to put out some additional blockers here, and I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to pin my hopes on Consignment Memory, that's for sure. I'm totally aware that they could have a Causelix Command that could burn me to death. They're just, every turn that passes, they're potentially drawing Causelix Command. There's the other eye. No attacks. I would love for there to be no attacks. Yeah, it's crazy to me. I'm definitely going to attack with Tamiyo to create a clue here. Am I? I mean, sadly, I think I'm kind of in a holding pattern. Let's say hypothetically I jump the frog, I jump over there, I hit them, I get a card, it could be land, and I could Murktide. I think the expected value of that working is high enough that I want to attack. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Non-instant, non-sorceries. I don't care about damage at all. I'm just going to attack here. This clue is not super valuable to me. Yeah, it's too late. I already attacked with that. I was thinking, no, actually, I might be able to flip Tamiyo. Flipping Tamiyo would be good. It'd be a distraction. Land would be great here. I'll take any land. All right, Plow. Not going to do anything for us here. I think we sadly have to pass, and we have to hope that this Consign does something. They're definitely going to attack here. But we couldn't, well, like every turn that passes, like they can flame us out with Glaring Fleshbreaker. All they need is a Causelix Command, and we're dead. This is the pitch color, or the bounce color. Thoughts here. Unfortunately, I can't do anything to stop that. Yeah, it's not worth Consign triggering, in my opinion. We're like not totally dead, but we're going to be dead very soon. We're 10, 1. Okay. They do get another one. It's going to be Summoning Signet. I don't see how we get out of this. Because they're going to attack. They're going to do so much damage. Yeah. Well, good games. Yeah. I think... What happened there exactly? Okay, so I wastelanded. They wastelanded. Yeah, I wastelanded twice. And maybe had I held the color... I never got the colored mana that I needed to be able to resolve my Murktides. There's nothing that we've seen that suggests that they would have been able to deal with a large Murktide. So I'm gonna posit that my theory is still accurate, that sticking a large Murktide can still win against Eldrazi. Maybe game 1 when they were able to deal with our Murktide twice, that was aberrational and that's not normal. But yeah, if you have thoughts on that matchup or that particular match that we just played, especially if you think like maybe I'm overestimating how good Murktide is against them, please let me know. But in theory, in my theory crafting, when I'm like out mowing the lawn, thinking about what I'm going to play on the Be Excellent YouTube channel that week, I'm like, yeah, Murktide, what hits it? Nothing. It's like practically impenetrable because nobody's playing white, so nobody's playing Plow. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, we saw it get Brazen Borrowed. We saw it get hit by the bounce dude. We saw it get exiled by Devourer of Destiny. I think I just didn't close that game fast enough. I closed it as fast as I could, though. I mean, I was actively trying to get stuff in the graveyard. Game 2, okay, so game 3 was the game where they exiled my frog, and I just could have put a card in my graveyard, and then instead of having another frog, which is going to sit there, I could have actually had a big bad Murktide that could have actually had some board presence. So that was probably the critical punt, and it seems like such a small thing, just discarding a single card, but that would have unlocked Murktide, and I think that would have potentially unlocked the game. All right, we are back for round 3 against an unknown opponent. I like this hand. This hand has a lot to like for being up against an unknown opponent. And I like the fact that we have potentially a force protected frog and we have lots of wasteland interaction. I'm going to keep this we're on the draw. Thoughtseize, not what I like to see. It looks like this might be some sort of mono black thing, or maybe they're just being careful and they are just blue black Reanimator like everybody else. I'm not going to pitch 2 cards to stop a Thoughtseize though, so they are going to get my force if that's what they're after. Also, it looks like our wastelands aren't going to find much purchase if our opponent's playing basics. So really our best draw is probably a Brainstorm that we can use to shuffle away the wastelands. Okay, they took Force of Will, which implies to me that they're a combo deck. So I'm thinking Reanimated the Traxos in our near future. Oh, we drew another Force of Will. That's very lucky. So I'll open with this so they can't waste it. and we'll pass. Hopefully they'll go for it thinking the coast is clear, not realizing that I had another Force of Will, unbeknownst to both of us. So I'd love for them to like go in on like a line. Okay, well that's unfortunate because I do need to fetch Black Source to be able to play out this Psychic Frog. So they're going to have their choice of 2 different mana sources. The other alternative, of course, is I put this Wasteland to use and I just plow their thing. I think that's what I'm going to do here. I think, when is the optimal time to do this? I think it still is during upkeep because I'm going to waste them. They're going to waste me. Yeah, and I'm just going to go fetch an Underground Sea here and hope that they don't have yet another. Oh, wow, they didn't react. Okay, well, that was a mistake on their part, in my humble opinion. I can't think of a reason why it makes sense to not waste them back and force them to fetch. Because they have their basics now. There's a Psychic Frog. I think we just go get our Underground Sea and we daze them. They're running kind of low on cards. They could daze back if they... Oh, no, they can't profitably daze back. So just slow, disciplined play, taking their game plan apart. They can certainly reanimate this later if they want to. If they have another Wasteland in hand, we are exposing our Underground Sea to it. I think I'm willing to lead with the Tundra, even though that's new information that they didn't have. Just because I need to protect this Underground Sea for my own Psychic Frog. And since they're now it's clear they're on blue-black, I might have to wait a turn to deploy my Psychic Frog, just because getting a daze would be really bad. We're in this like kind of war of attrition. Oh... I think I'm going to play this out. Yep. And I'm just going to pass. That Murktide is really cool, though. But I don't want my frog to get... Because they already have a pretty good reanimation target in their graveyard. I think I let this go. And then I'll just go after the actual reanimation effect. I think we do pitch frog here. They could have multiple fatal pushes, but they're unlikely to be able to deal with frog unless they have specifically Brazen Borrower. But on the other hand, if we do get multiple frogs in play, it's going to be really powerful to just untap and go frog, frog. Yeah, I think I'm on the frog train right here. Hopefully they're not able to force back. It is late enough in the game, and it would make sense why they're not doing anything if they have their own force. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're going to lose. We're dead. Let's see some of their deck. Getting it doesn't even matter because they gave this thing Death Touch along with everything else they gave it. So like it's not like having a Murktide, which would have only been a 5/5, was gonna save anything. Let's see. We'll take a few draws because we could potentially draw. Well, let's see. Did they reveal Force? They did. So they're probably going to take Force blue card. Animate Dead, Force of Will, Underground Sea, and Ponder. Okay, I'm going to concede. Because even if we draw back-to-back, plows and stuff, it's not going to matter when they have Force blue card to protect. Yeah, it's frustrating. But yeah, this is Legacy in 2024. They didn't ban Frog. So instead of bitching about it, I'm going to get to work, hopefully exiling some cards from their graveyard. As we established previously, Prismatic Ending is not good against them. Containment Priest, however, is quite good. And then I think we just we could cut a Wasteland because I'm probably not going to waste them. No, I'm on the play. I'm going to potentially waste them just in case they don't play basics. Obviously they do play basics, but I'm saying in case they don't respect the power of the Wasteland. Spell Pierce is really strong against them. Yeah, I think it is the Force that we cut here. Let's do it. Because if you think about it, Surgical is like a Force, but it's like a one-card pitch, and it really only counters reanimation effects. Or if you're a complete fool like I was yesterday, it can attempt to make a barrel go small enough that you can bolt it, but your opponent can just keep discarding cards with Frog every time you Surgical. Yeah, that happened. That was super duper embarrassing. You can watch it on my Wizards video, my blue-red Wizards deck. Okay, so this is a great hand. Actually, this is perfect. I wish it had a blue... I wish I didn't have to Lorien cycle, but I am going to. I'm definitely keeping this. So we will open Tundra, and we will plan to Lorien Revealed to get a Black Source, to Thoughtseize, But before we can do anything, we need to make sure our mana's underneath us. We have the option of spell piercing here if they just do something broken turn 1, which I don't think they're going to do. One of the scary things about the deck is it's a combo deck that has a really good mid-range plan, but it also has a tempo plan, and sometimes they just draw 3 of their wastelands. Island Cycle now, I guess. Doesn't really matter. I don't think they play Stifle, and even if they did, they wouldn't have the mana for it. So I will take this Underground Sea. And sadly, if I Thoughtseize them and I see another wasteland, I might just have to Surgical Wasteland. But Thoughtseize is the right call here. They have their shields down. We can hopefully break up their combo. Okay, they do have double Brazen Borrower. Interesting. So I could take a Brazen Borrower and Surgical it, but that seems like totally weak. Yeah, we just need to keep fatties out of their yard. I think Brainstorm is the most powerful card here because it slows down their ability to find a fatty. Next turn, we're definitely going to ponder. Unless, of course, they draw one of their wastelands, then we won't be able to ponder. Okay, so that's out of their hand. So their hand is Animate Dead, Reanimate, 2 Brazen Borrowers, Underground Sea. Brazen Borrower is a very clean answer to Murktide. They don't have removal, so I think it's fine to just stick a frog here and make them bounce it. And then just cast it again and get them to deploy resources toward it. All right, they are fetching Surveilling, I presume. Oh, Swamp. They have a troll? No. Okay. They just decided to do it in step for some reason. Okay. So Underground Sea's on the table. They're not doing anything, which is good for me. I would like to untap, so I have Spell Pierce and Surgical before we get into a fight. I think, first of all, I think they made a mistake in waiting here. I am going to pierce that. Right. I mean, we probably should cut them off this land here. I definitely could have attacked and drawn to see what I was going to draw first. I just got really excited. I was like, oh, they didn't fetch their basics, so let's punish them. Okay, Plow is a great pickup. Yeah, I think we hold. We have Brainstorm in the case of an emergency. I think it's likely that if they have a land, that they borrow. And borrowing... Oh, or they could just do nothing, which is totally chill. They're not at the point where they're willing to reanimate anything. There's nothing to reanimate other than the Brazen Borrower, and that can't block Frog on the ground. Well, they're welcome to do that. I think that's a huge mistake. All right, maybe they just have assessed that they have literally nothing going on over there. I'm going to go ahead and attack first, and then see what I draw here. If I get a Tamiyo or something like that, I can flip Tamiyo. More lands. I think I am going to go ahead and Brainstorm here. We don't have to worry about them doing anything crazy here. Yeah, I mean, this is freaking insane. I mean, Force is not that great when we already have Surgical. I could see him having a line of like Thoughtseize into... we already know they have Animate Dead. So Thoughtseize into like Entomb or something like that could be bad. I don't really want this land. I think I'm going to trust the Plow is going to be really strong against them, and I'm not going to force. I think it's okay to go ahead and ponder now. I'll get another Tundra since white is definitely more important here. Let's ponder now. I'm just kind of getting these out of the way because these do fill the yard. These are all good. Daze is really good. So I'm going to take Daze for sure. And then, yeah, I'll just draw these other cards later. So we have Daze, we have Plow. We're not going to lose to this Brazen Borrower. I'm not going to Plow it yet. I'm going to wait for a series card to Plow. Plow is worth its weight in gold in this matchup. Okay, they did find a land. Would love to just Daze something like if they Animate Dead or if they attempt to borrow again. Look how hard we're having to work for this. Look at how hard we're having to work for a win over their deck. When they can just like, combo us. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and attack here. I don't have a land to play, so it's fine with me dazing this. And I'll just replay it later. Okay. Do I want to go ahead and Brainstorm here? I don't think it's the worst. Just use the mana. If I find a Murktide, that's great. I didn't find a Murktide, but I did find some frogs, and they're definitely going to rain down. I'll do like this, and then I'll go ahead and deploy frog here post-combat. I just have to be very careful and check all the boxes against their very powerful deck. And like I'm working so hard, but then I still have to win game 2 or game 3, and they'll be on the play for that. So yeah, I think this doesn't get tapped. This is Daze protection for surgical in case of an absolute emergency. They've used that reanimate. They used the borrower. So they have 4 unknown and an animate dead. I don't think we jump yet. I might do that next turn with my third frog that I'm going to play out, but I think I just want to snowball. All right, I'm going to go ahead and attack in. They could have like Bowmasters. That would be pretty obnoxious here. They had a third one. I'm going to go ahead and brainstorm here just in case I do find Daze. I do have 3 in my deck. I didn't find one. I'll put it back. There's my land for the turn. Yeah, I'll do like that. Okay, it's bounced. I'll draw a card. And I'll just play this out. And I have the ability to... Oh no, I freaking didn't play it out. That was a misplay. I'll probably fire a plow at this just because it is doing a lot of damage. Damn, that was such a misplay. I'm sorry about that. I was passing through combat and I hit okay one time too many. Yeah, I'm not going to plow. I'll just amass cards and I'll make a big frog and it'll jump up and hit it. Okay. Yeah, I'll let that resolve. They're going to lose 3 life. Oh wait, no, it's anime dead. They don't even lose life, but it's, you know, like the world's wimpiest brazen borrower. It's a 2/1. Okay. It's heartening that that's what they're doing here. That's like, so I'm going to go ahead and attack first. Would love to find a Tamiyo. Force is pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, if I ponder, then I give up the ability to find Tamiyo, but I think that's okay. Okay, there is a Tamiyo. I can play her out. All right, so I am going to play out a Tamiyo here. She can block there, and then I can just plow that. And if they do something, then I can always brainstorm. Oh, I have 8 cards in hand. Well, that is unfortunate, and it's not even letting me choose to discard a card. That is really unfortunate. I didn't think about that. Okay, so we're going to discard Ponder. Yeah, I'm not playing as tight as I need to. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to tighten up. Okay, let's go ahead and block here. And then I'm just going to plow one. I presume that they have some sort of daze in hand at this point, so I'm going to try to avoid accidentally getting dazed. That would be an embarrassing thing to happen at this point in the game. So I'm just going to attack with both. All right, we get a card. Okay, Underground Sea, which we can't cast. I think I'll just brainstorm now. Yeah, that's fine. I can brainstorm now, and if they Bowmaster, then I can just plow it. Murktide is precisely the kind of card we want to see here. I think I'm just going to play it out. I don't need Surgical Extraction number 2, I don't think. Don't need this land. Shuffle those away. Actually, the Psychic Frog is probably unnecessary as well. Okay, I'll plus here. Go ahead and fetch. I'll get another Tundra. I don't think any of the cards in our graveyard are particularly potent. I want to save them for later. And then we'll just go blue, Murktide. Exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue. This should end the game. They've used 3 of their Brazen Borrowers. I can't imagine them having a 4th one, but maybe they could. We're covered against like pretty much every conceivable thing that they could have here. Force of Will, Surgical. They have used their Animate Dead, so we don't know any of their cards. Archon of Cruelty is a strong card. I mean, if they have like a critical mass of interaction, we could be in trouble here. So I'm going to start by just exiling it. Now let's click it. We can take a look at their deck. It is selected, right? I can never tell whether... Okay, they just conceded, that's right. But we did get to see their Let's take a look at it. So they brought in 2 Pithing Needle, which is questionable. I guess it does potentially hit Tamiyo. Other than that, everything looks very stock. They have 2 Thought Seizes. They have 2 of the Reanimator Metamorphosis guy, who's scary as heck. And yet another reason to play Plow. Yeah, and they didn't draw any of their Psychic Frogs. So, yeah. That was called being on the play. That was not necessarily tight play on my part. I definitely could have tightened up my play. So for game 3, I didn't see any Bowmasters in there, and I don't think we bring in Bowmasters here. I didn't see anything to suggest that Prismatic Ending is good. It's just another way to potentially deal with frogs. I think Force is probably better than Spell Pierce. Maybe Spell Pierce is better than Daze. No, there can't be a world in which that's true. Yeah, I think we probably do this. They've got a lot of powerful creatures in their deck. I'm more scared of their creatures generally than their spells. We just have to stop their huge plays, like Entomb, like Psychic Frog. If we stop Entomb and we stop Psychic Frog, the fatties never get in the yard. This is not a good enough hand on the key on the draw. I'm gonna mulligan this. I mean, Psychic Frog is good. Don't get me wrong. He definitely carried us last game, but it's just not good enough. Okay, this is great. We have Surgical. We have Containment Priest. We put back the Ponder. Yeah, because we might need multiple plows here if they discard us. So we have both of their main angles covered here. Okay. I'm going to open Wasteland because I'm not broken up if they waste our waste. We don't have a blue card to go with this Force, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I think we open Wasteland. We pass. We need a colorless sources that are unlikely to waste so that we can pay for days on Surgical Extraction. Here is this is a Troll Cycle. Yeah. I'm not scared of Troll Cycle because I have Plow. I would love to draw a blue card next turn so that my Containment Priest can more likely resolve, because I think Containment Priest hitting the table, if they can't remove it, will be game. But there are a lot of cards in their deck, like probably 4 Fatal Pushes that deal with it. I'm going to let that resolve, and then I'll just Plow it. All right. And the scary thing about this is it can put something in the yard. All right, we did get a blue card, which I'm happy about. I'm super jazzed. I'm going to go get the Tundra here, and I'm not going to waste them because I need to have assurance that my card is going to resolve. I'm going to go ahead and hit it now while they're tapped out. I don't know of anything that can go wrong. Double Days would be bad. Force. Do we want to force this or do we want to let them connect? Obviously, they care a lot about this. What did they pitch? Pitched a Borrower. I think I'm going to force. Force back. We have a Surgical, which functionally does the same sort of thing. And I would hate for them, like, oh, I'll just Plow it again. And then they like untap Wasteland. And then we can't Plow them again. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think this is the more conservative line. We're both at 3. They have better mana than I do. But I do have a card that basically says, like, counter target reanimation effect. Okay, Ponder's fine. I would be scared if they found a Wasteland here. I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking. They've got 3 Wastelands and 51 cards. Pondering again. I definitely think that pondering for Wasteland would be smart here, because I led with Wasteland, which says that I don't have a lot of lands. All right. The game goes on. Land is good because it gives me Daze Protected Containment Priest. Daze gives me Daze Protected Containment Priest, but only if I wait for the right opening. I'm just going to chill. Thoughtseize would be a very scary card from them right now. I'm trying to think of what 3-drops they have in their deck. It would be an absolute disaster for me to have to, like, Plow and then Daze it or something to be able to avoid losing a land, but I will do that if they play land and then if they play Wasteland. Or if they play creature and then Wasteland, I will waste whatever they put on this deck. This is fine. And now, I think I'm going to go for this because it's a free lunch if they don't have the Daze. And if they do, I can just Plow it next turn. That sucks. Do we want to Surgical it here? It allows us to keep our Force. I think we Surgical, and then if they do something here, then we can Daze. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Call me crazy. I would love for them to fetch and try to, like, brainstorm or something. Not doing it. Okay, so they have Metamorphosis Fanatic, and they have Reanimate in their hand. So we just need to keep their yard clear of things to hit. Let's take a look at their deck again. They have two, so they still have their Entombs in. They've got 3 of their 4 Entombs. So the scariest card they could draw up here would probably be Brainstorm, but actually Brainstorm, Metamorphosis Fanatic only targets your own graveyard. I don't see any Bowmasters. I do see 2 Thoughtseize. I see 4 Wasteland. So yeah, we're definitely in the danger zone here. We're not going to be able to just chill. We got to be proactive here. Okay, so they did successfully daze. That's fine. So again, let's take a look at their hand here. It is just a bunch of lands. Wait, actually, these are not in there. Yeah, they have 1 Underground Sea in their hand. All right. Land, please. Or, yeah, really just land is the main thing. I would take a Tamiyo. Okay, Tamiyo. So, yeah, like them wasting us would be catastrophic here. But if they don't waste us, Tamiyo can eventually get us some value. Metamorphosis Fanatic costs 6. So we will need to waste them at some point if they get like 5 lands out. There's the Wasteland. Nothing I can do about this, sadly. It was foretold. They don't have any reanimation targets, so their reanimate is rotting. We're going to build some clues while we wait for a land. Sooner rather than later, hopefully. All right, that's not a bad pickup as far as non-land pickups are concerned. So we will force a Entomb, but I don't think there's anything else we would force out of them. They're going to get a Surveil land here. So scary, because if they do find one of their monsters, okay, they kept. Yeah, if they find a monster, then it's like seriously bad off the Surveil land. They play 2, and they sometimes just win the lottery there. We don't have a way to deal with this, unfortunately. If we force it, they just redraw it. We need to plow it. So I'm going to let it stay in play. This is not the fight for our force. They can kill Tamiyo. Okay, so options. 1, we just attack and we crack the clue. They can pitch 2 cards. That's not going to work. We can't get clues while they're chilling there. We just have to wait. I'll crack the clue end step. There's no reason to crack it now, because we might be able to get into a force fight with cards still in our hand. I'm sorry, with mana still untapped. If they draw a fatty, they can immediately just pitch it with Psychic Frog. Utterly terrifying. They could also, pitch this, but they wouldn't have anything to reanimate. Well, maybe they do. They're about to draw a card, so we'll see what they draw. I'm not blocking that. So now they're going to get to do to me what I did to them last game and snowball. But now, unlike me, where I got a value, I got a brainstorm off that. They're getting like freaking reanimates and Atraxes that they can reanimate and stuff like that. It's totally asymmetrical. Yep, this deck is my opponent's deck is the reason Frog's going to get banned, not my deck. But what do they put? They put the Metamorphosis Fanatic in there. The sad thing is, I kind of need to force this because they could just put they could just discard something really good with the trigger on the stack. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and force this. Okay, another Frog, another Animate Dead. We can't draw a Daze here because we don't have Daze mana. They're gonna get it back. Do they have a card to discard here? Okay, ability goes on the stack. Do you have another card? You're just getting a 3/4 lifelink? Okay, deal. As soon as I draw a Plains, I'm going to dispatch this. All right, so I do want to attack here. This doesn't have flying or anything. Yeah, we're going to take some damage here, but hopefully I'm going to find a Plains so that I can get rid of this Frog. That's like the number 1 priority here. All right. And unfortunately, I am going to have to play in 2 days if they held the days this long, which I don't think they would. Please give me a freaking fetch land. I'm playing 8 of them. That is a land next turn. Now we have to take the crunch. Scary time. So they cast Reanimate, so we don't know anything in their hand. But they're going to have a pretty fat hand here. Going to gain some life. They're going to do some damage. Next turn, we Lorien Revealed. We get a Plow. We Plow Frog. Hopefully they don't have a backup Frog by then. We just have to take it slow. So many things can go wrong here. Okay. I feel lucky that nothing went catastrophically wrong there. They could have a force in hand. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go get our Tundra. We've had one Tundra wasted, so we still have one more backup Tundra. We need it. I'm just going to go ahead and plow now. I don't want to run the risk of them drawing additional cards. And it'll be nice to know whether... Yeah, okay, I'm going to attack with Tamiyo. I'm going to hope that we don't die here, but we could definitely die here. Like if they have the ability to like get a... what is it called? Archon into play. We lose like a lot of life immediately. The lifelink isn't a big deal. I think I can take over this game pretty quickly if I can get rid of the cards. But I mean, they drew like 3 cards off of Frog, so they are up a whole lot. Even though I've been trying my best to keep parity with Tamiyo. Wasteland would be catastrophic here because I worked so hard to get that Tundra, and all my cards. Like, my entire hand has to be unlocked by blue. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, they have a land. Okay. All right. Oh, there's the second land. I think we Murktide here. Yeah, I'm going to Murktide, and then I can clue instep. Let's just hope this resolves and that they don't just bounce it. So let's think about this. I think it's okay to get rid of Tamiyo here, because actually if they reanimate it, they might accidentally flip it. I don't want them generating clues at this point. So I'll get rid of Force. I mean, Surgical is not bad to return to my hand. Lorien Revealed could actually be playable later. I think I'll take out the Force, one of the Plows. That's a 6/6, which can stand up to this. And then I still have cards that I can return later if I need to. Let's get rid of a land. Yeah. So this is just coming in as a 6/6, but it's big enough to tangle with this. And I do think it's quite likely that they have Brazen Borrower in hand, or that they can access one. If they have it, like, I'm pretty dead actually, because they can hit me for 3 and then they can flash in the Borrower itself and then they'll have lethal. All right. Wow, that is so lucky. Maybe they're waiting for me to tap out. Well, I tapped out and nothing bad happened, so I'm feeling pretty good. Second Frog's good. Let's go ahead and brainstorm here. I'd love to find another Plow. Then I can kind of more safely attack in. Tamiyo's not bad. She doesn't do anything this turn. I'm going to put the Underground Sea back. And I think we put the Ponder back. Now I'm going to play this out. I'm going to fetch. I am giving them something to reanimate by playing out this Frog. Do I have Brazen Borrower in my deck? I think I kept it in there. Yeah, I do. Look at this. And now I'm just going to go black, blue, Frog. And I'll Tamiyo later. Next turn I can Tamiyo and flip it in the same turn if I need to. And I'm just going to chill. Their life total is so high, like there's no point in really attacking them here. Okay, so they're countering this, which tells me they probably have a reanimation effect and they're just waiting for something to reanimate. Yep, that's it. We're going to pass. We just have to chill. They reanimate the Frog. That is a problem. But I'm going to hope that Brainstorm can like find us an answer to that problem. Flipping Tamiyo can pretty quickly rebuy Swords to Plowshares, which is pretty good. And when she rebuys, she also pumps the dragon. All right, they fetched a basic Brainstorm. So they're double brainstorming this turn. So they're looking at a lot of cards. They could set up Metamorphosis Fanatic for next turn. This is bad. If their last card is Reanimate, we are in deep trouble. We are in deep trouble. We're dead. Yeah, because we take 3 and then they attack us for 3. So disappointing. Yeah, I thought we were about to navigate out of that. All right. We are 0-3. We went against Reanimator twice and we went against Eldrazi. And I think both of these last two were like really pretty close and could have potentially gone any way. But this game against Jay Liddy, like he just completely owned me. I mean, it sucks because I'm like metagaming against these decks and they can still beat me. So maybe it's piloting error. Maybe it's just bad luck. Or maybe my deck just is not as good, and I can't compete with the S tier decks of the format, Eldrazi and Reanimator. Now, Painter is also a strong deck. I'd say it's the third strongest deck in the format, but I would say the difference, so I would say the gulf between Blue-Black Reanimator and Eldrazi is pretty big, and then the gulf between Eldrazi and Reanimator or Painter is also quite big. So UB is definitely the strongest by far, and it just frustrates me because I don't want to play that deck. Like, I just got done complaining about Rescam for like, and now that they ban Grief, it's less unfun. That you do still get, you know, ball games, but yeah, it's just not my style of deck. Like, I don't like those, you know, AB combo. Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop bitching, and we'll hope to do better in the next round. All right, we're back for round 4 against an unknown opponent. We are on not Blue-Black Reanimator, like apparently we should be, but rather we are on my Esper control build, and this is a pretty strong hand. It's got Force against an unknown opponent. Lorien is just an easy force pitch. Prismatic Ending is a good catch-all if they open Chalice or something like that. I think we keep, and we even have our basic, which we don't generally want to draw in this deck, but if they like turn 1 Blood Moon us, we could play it. I mean, I'd still force. Oh, and we're on the play too. My opponent said yee. Not sure what that means. All right. I think we open, if we just play out this gives them little information about us. I do like the idea of sandbagging. No, we're going to need to get the Underground Sea anyway, so we can cast out the Psychic Frog. So I'll just play that out. So this is one of those hands where you're definitely glad to have the Lorien revealed instead of the Nth land. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Vexing Bauble, huh? I think we just end that. They won't have any mana up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get Psychic Frog first. There's no reason not to go ahead and get the land. I don't want to draw land, so getting a land out of the deck reduces the likelihood we draw land here. We're going to definitely need this land. Okay. We got a land anyway. I think we just play this out and we frog. They are going to get a construct, but it's not the end of the world. I want to start attacking here. So next turn, I'll Prismatic End the Vexing Bauble. I guess I could have done that without them being able to tap. But I think most likely they're going to have Ancient Tomb into constructs. So what I'll do here is if I hit the Bauble now, they can draw a card, but they can't play a construct, and I'm fine with that. So it's kind of like a 1-for-1 in that respect. So let's go ahead and do this. They can just go get another one, actually. So this was probably actually a bad play. I didn't think about that until I had already cast the spell, though. Okay, they are doing it, which is fine. So my ability fizzles. I'm going to attack. I would love to find a wasteland here. And if I find a wasteland, I'll definitely hit the Ancient Tomb. Another Prismatic Ending is not bad because we can hit the other bauble if they do another bauble here. Can we get a wasteland? We do. That's great. I'll put this back. I'll put this back too. I'm going to waste this, and they're going to have a magical disappearing mana base. Okay. Search trigger's fine. If they're going to do something degenerate, this will have to be the turn they do it with their Vexing Bauble out. Yeah. Prismatic Ending is such a good card. I mean, I really do think the White Splash is strong, even though it hasn't been strong so far in this league. It's just crushing because this is really like, if I were to like show up for a tournament today based on my analysis of the metagame, and I was like ideologically opposed to playing Blue-Black Reanimator, I would absolutely play this probably because it feels really strong. But okay, so we've got our fetch here. I think the simple thing is go ahead and get rid of this now, just in case something crazy happens. We know we have a land on top. I'm going to shuffle now. Let's go get another white resource. Now we can swing with the frog. There's an argument to like pitch cards, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope to draw a Murktide, and then I'll close the game very quickly with that instead of having to pitch cards from hand. Yeah, I think it's fine to go ahead and just ponder here for velocity. Thoughtseize is pretty good. Yeah, I think Thoughtseize and Wasteland are great here. So I'll take those. And I will pass. Yeah, I didn't think about the fact that I could draw Thoughtseize, so it might have made sense to grab an Underground Sea instead of a Tundra there. 3 color deck things. All right, they're discarding. Wren's Run. Oh, I didn't even notice that they discard. Okay, so they're definitely on whatever it's called, the Ruby Storm deck. So we're going to draw here. This is a card. Like, I guess if yeah, I'll just play this out. And then I think I'm going to Thoughtseize. And then if I need to, I can put Thoughtseize back on top of my deck. Okay, Desperate Ritual, bonus round. Which of these cards kills me? None of these cards by itself does anything. They need 2 mana. This would be the most annoying if they just somehow manage to get it out. I think I'll take that. And I'll pass. And I might actually just flash in the Brazen Bar for extra damage. I think they're probably going to concede pretty quickly here if they don't draw land. I'm just going to go ahead and play out this Brazen Borrower. There's not really any permanents in their deck that are worth bouncing other than Raj himself. And I am aware that I didn't get the land I said I was going to get, the Mystic Sanctuary, to return Thoughtseize. I definitely could have done that. Let's attack. Not going to add any power. I'm just going to keep drawing cards and amassing advantage. Murktide is great. I'll just play that. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're dead on board. 8, 11, 12. Yeah, they're very dead on board. Yeah, and I definitely could have played out that Wasteland. That was a mistake. I should have played it out just so they know they're super dead. All right. So that was an easy one. Were we on the play? Yeah, we were on the play. That might be part of it. And their hand just collapsed to a well-timed Wasteland, just like we drew it up. Hydroblasts are coming in. Consign to Memory is not terrible. Lavinia is very good. Do they play Null Rod? They may not. Consign doesn't really stop that much, actually. It does stop Storm Trigger. Let's take a look at what's bad in our deck. Like, they have very few creatures in their deck. Raj can also be hit with Prismatic Ending. Spell Pierce is good. Thoughtseize is good. Yeah, Prismatic Ending is quite good against their deck. Borrower is pretty bad. It is blue and it does pitch to force, but I'm just trying to think of, other than bouncing like a flip Planeswalker, it's not very good. So I think we do that. Our dream is to get a card draw engine like Psychic Frog, like Tamiyo Online, and then just write it. I imagine they're bringing in some blasts. I haven't looked at the most recent lists of this. This is an extremely slow hand. I don't think we can keep this. This is a much more proactive hand. I like the fact that we're basically, playing out spells and doing stuff, and then we finish with a Murktide. We can even feed the Murktide with a frog. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to put a frog back. So we don't have any turn 0 plays, but Hydroblast is quite good against their deck. Right? Okay. Are we going to go into like Crazy Town immediately? Another right. There's a Raj we can't do anything about. We can Hydroblast it next turn, though. It'll still be a red Planeswalker when it flips. Desperate Ritual. Okay, they flip a coin. They lost the flip because they did damage to themselves. Okay. So they got 4 mana floating. 2 cards in hand. Okay, Burning Wish. This is scary. They're probably going to get Galvanic Relay. Yeah, this is all happening turn 0 for us. So they flip this. Spells are cheaper, but they don't have the mana to cast the... what's it called? So they can reduce the cost. Okay, so it's a big one. Yeah, they can reduce the cost of playing the dragon thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically they get a whole bunch of dragons. That's probably how they're going to try to win here. But I think that, yeah, Galvanic Relay, that makes sense. So they're going to relay for 6. So it's like drawing 6 cards. Pretty strong. We've not been able to interact with any of this. So next turn, I think what we have to do is we have to blast Raj. We'll see what they're going to get here. I definitely could have like F6 through the turn there. Okay, so they have a Ruby Medallion, good card. Ren's Resolve, very good. Manamorphose, Vexing Bauble, and Urza Saga is probably coming in. And then, is that another Burning Wish? 7 cards in exile? Yeah. Oh wait, that's the Burning Wish that they put there when it goes to exile when you resolve it. Okay, so let's think about what they might do next turn. They're probably going to play out Urza Saga. It's just too good not to play out. They're probably going to try to play out. The good thing is they don't have any ramp here, and shutting off Raj does reduce their ability to ramp. So I mean, like in my mind, there's no question. The best draw is definitely a Force of Will, but we're definitely going to have to go after a Raj here. Lavinia, sick card if we can resolve her. My goodness, she'll be so good next turn. Unfortunately, yeah, just going to destroy Raj. Hope like somewhere in this massive wall of text there's not something that like, oh, if he would be targeted by Blue Elemental Blast, he doesn't die. Okay, so let's pass and let's see what the damage is. I don't think they can actually do that much. But if their last card in the hand is like a Rite of Flame or something, that would be insane. And we'd be dead. I'm almost certainly going to need to use my days, though, because it's just like we have to get through this turn somehow. We have to crimp their mana, and then we can resolve a Lavinia, and then later we can resolve... Okay, interesting. So they went for the mountain rather than the Urza Saga. I think I just dazed this. And they have no mana. Then they can't cast any of these. Am I reading that correctly? All right, let's go. That was that was one of the best days of my life. Days of our lives. All right, I'll just replay this. I mean, we're naked here, depending on what they have. You know, I might as well play this out. I can't imagine them having a Blood Moon effect, but like that would really suck to get hit by Blood Moon and just lose the game immediately. Not that I'm like doing well without it, but yeah, that was definitely one of the best days I've ever had. Have you ever cast Daze and stopped 6 cards from resolving? Probably they weren't going to resolve all those, but they were going to resolve one of them for sure, and maybe 2 or 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and yeah, I'm going to fetch in the upkeep just because like I don't want to draw more land. It's a very minor thing, but fetching the thin is a real thing. It does have an impact on probability. It's just usually amateurs do it. So people will get in their mind, oh, I'm not an amateur, I don't fetch the thin. But there are situations where fetching the thin is rational. So I get an Underground Sea here. Let's draw. Lavinia seems like a good pick. Actually, I think Psychic Frog is better. Let's see, Lavinia. Lavinia can't really actually stop anything. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Psychic Frog here. And then Psychic Frog is just going to beat face like none other. We're going to pitch everything to Psychic Frog to pave the way. And then Psychic Frog's BFF is going to jump in there and they're going to alley-oop it with the Murktide. Ruby Medallion's fine. They don't have a land drop, it looks like. It's slow going ever since that explosive turn 1. All right, question. Do we just want to dump this Ponder and do we want to get the Murktide out now? Kind of want to do that. I'm going to attack. I'm going to go ahead and discard a card. I'm going to discard a Ponder. I'm going to discard a Lavinia because I'm a mad lad. Oh, actually, Lavinia would have been good there since they have the Ruby Medallion. I'll discard this. I'll discard this. And we're just going to put a bunch of pressure on the table here. Yeah, I probably should have kept Lavinia. All right. Murktide. I think this is like a 2-turn clock here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. There's nothing I can do to bring stuff back. All right. So we're attacking for 11, 12, 13. I can exile if I draw a sorcery, I think, or an instant, I think I can just kill him next turn. There's Raj. Depending on what they have in their hand, they may have... Yeah, so I think Raj is just blocking. But Raj can't even block because he doesn't have flying. Instant for the win. Instant for the win. I'm trying to think if there's anything they could have. I think we just go for it. Boom. All right. Now we exile these. I have to discard one more. All right, hopefully they don't like Chain of Vapor or something here, because I should have done this during combat. I'll feel really dumb if like I just unnecessarily open myself up to something here. All right, that's 7 plus 7 is 14. Show me the death. All right, we did it. That was freaking smooth. Thank goodness for days. Raj would have been a pain when he flipped. Well, let's take a look at his ability again. I didn't really read the text. I was just like, there's too much text. I got to counter him. So Raj deals 2 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Draw a card if you can. Oh, so that's a pretty weak ability, actually. Actually, all his abilities other than his -8 are terrible. So we wouldn't necessarily have been dead. Let's see. They would have been able to plus and then plus again. Actually, there's a decent chance that we would have been dead. Let's see. I think it had 7 the turn that they got it out. So they would have plussed. We would have that turn. Yeah, I think we would have been dead without the blast. Blue Elemental Blast. Don't leave home without it. It definitely belongs in the sideboard. And yeah, we had Xaxes here. I feel really good about just being aggressive and closing the game. All right, let's go to the final game. All right, we're back for the final round against an unknown opponent. This hand has Tamiyo flip, has action against tons of different types of decks. We're on the draw, but I think we keep it just on the strength of this general. Like, if they open with like Blood Moon or something, then that's catastrophic. But other than that, I think we're pretty well equipped to deal with them. It looks like they're a blue player. All right, hopefully this will just be like Island Ponder or something. Yep. All right, so Force of Will. Great pickup. I think we just go ahead and Thoughtseize them. And if they daze it, and it sets back their development. But I don't want to walk Tamiyo into a plow if I don't have to. I want perfect information here. Also, like opening, they probably think I'm a Reanimator combo deck now, because this is like a very common opening for a Reanimator type deck. That's fine. I'm not going to force a daze. I'll just keep my tempo advantage here. Now it's like I got to play first. Okay, their island's back out. Borrower is a pitch to force. Just going to play Tamiyo. And I'm going to see if I can bait a removal spell. Okay, there's the white that we figured they had. Actually, I don't know if I verbally said that, but I was thinking, oh, they're probably on Just Guy. But blue-white with daze, they're probably on Phyrexian Dreadnought, which makes me think that this fetch is not safe. I'm going to play out a second fetch just in case I need to do something. But this does mean like the Prismatic Ending is either extremely good or it's extremely bad. It's not going to be in between. It's either going to hit a Phyrexian Dreadnought or it's going to just rot in my hand. Oh, I could brainstorm here for sure. I just want to have more information about the deck. I'm not in a hurry. I can crack this clue. It's not the worst. Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay. Yeah, I think we just let it happen, and then we have Prismatic Ending to force through. This does make me want to fetch my lands. I'm going to go ahead and fetch them. So I'll get double white here, just so they can't waste me off of my white sources. And this will probably also maybe inspire them to bring in Harbinger of the Tide. So the scariest situation is they have double Dreadnought. Actually, that's not that scary because we have a borrower too. This is definitely scary, and unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about this. What I think I'll do is I'll end this, and then I will bounce this. That does take more mana than I have available. I don't really want to force this, that they're drawing 2 cards, especially if they have their own force. Let me think about this. Murktide is going to be bigger, and they would have to attack into it. I'm going to go ahead and crack a clue just to see what I would draw. If I draw a plow, then I can just hit that. Okay, now I'm thinking maybe I do force this. Let's see, we borrow, because we might not get a land. Yeah, I think we have to. I'm just going to pitch the borrower. It's like the least impactful card here. So I did that before they get the cards. Now they get the cards. Hoping I can strand a lot of stuff in their hand when I borrow here, or when I end here. They are tapped out, so I can safely Tamiyo here. I'm going to start by attacking. Ponder is a good potential pitch to force if I want to keep Murktide up, and Murktide is kind of how I win. The other way I win could be just to... If I brainstorm first, then I potentially have Daze Protection if I find a land. I do find a land. I still think removing the Doorkeeper Troll is the right call here. So I'm going to put this back, and I'll put... Brainstorm is more valuable generally than Ponder late game when you have a hand, which I do. So I'm going to plus here, play a land. We're going to try to exile this. It's already done enough damage getting that Null Drifter in and forcing us to force. Yeah, so we do have Daze Protection on our force here. They could very easily just untap Prismatic End or Tamiyo. I think I force if that's what's happening. Okay, Meticulous Archive. They dumped a Daze, which means they probably have a Daze. Wait, did they dump a Daze? Oh, a Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay, sorry, I was confused by the double pile here. What did they pitch to force here? Oh, they haven't forced yet. Okay, so... Oh, the Daze is from the original Thoughtseize. Sorry, I'm like an old man. I'm like trying to gather my thoughts here. Okay, so options. I think we just plus her and ride her to victory. I'm going to ponder first and see. Do I want to ponder first? I just want to Murktide. I think Murktide is fine. We could regrow a Thoughtseize. I don't dislike that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Just to ensure we have value. Then now we don't have to aggressively force to protect her. She can kind of like earn her own keep. Another Doorkeeper Thrall. Oh, we ponder. We potentially find a force. We just take whatever is in hand here. I think that's okay. She can attack here, but not if I deploy a Murktide. So we'll see if they have... Okay, interesting. So I think we just take this. Consign to memory. Okay, yeah, consign to memory is not going to find much purchase here. I'll just go ahead and play out a Murktide now. And then that'll wall 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make it a big one. I don't really care about buying cards back. I just need to protect Tamiyo for a turn cycle, and then I can start plussing her. So let's look at their hand one more time. We got rid of that, so they have Spell Pierce, Consign to Memory. Okay, so we basically don't want them to draw anything that they could force because they do have Spell Pierce now. If they draw like another Null Drifter, that would be the Nightmare. Dress Down is fine. It removes flying from both of our creatures. Okay, land for turn. So their hand is Consign to Memory, Spell Pierce, Flood of Strand, 1 unknown. All right. So as long as we keep up enough, at least 2 mana, Spell Pierce doesn't matter here. Oh, we could Frog. Frog, we still have Force up. I'm going to go ahead and attack and see what they do here. I don't think they're going to block. So options, Frog does get more momentum, but is momentum what we're looking for, or do we want to find an emergency way to remove this? I think we go ahead and you have to decide. Let's go ahead and play Frog. Frog can jump up. Yeah, I think Frog's fine. It'll help us get cards, even if they have like something scary next turn. So worst case scenario, we would force the Null Drifter if they have it. This is fine. They're just cantripping here, trying to find action. We can race a Phyrexian Dreadnought. All right, we got through that turn. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I just want to draw a card. They might be able to plow during this narrow window. Spell Pierce is a great pickup. Actually, it's not the best, but they're not going to expect it. Thoughtseize is pretty damn good. I think I start with the Thoughtseize just to see what they have in hand. A lot of jank. They could consign the draw trigger on Psychic Frog. I would not be stunned or sad if they did that. You can attack here and here. They're drawing a bunch of bad cards, which sucks for them. I think they should consign this trigger. Okay, they didn't. So I've got a pretty bad hand, but I'm also about to win the game. I think we just keep all our options open here. There might be some epic, like, you know, Spell Pierce and Daze and Force of Will type fight that transpires, or they may just concede here. They are dead on board. Null Drifter, if they stifle this, I'll do something about it. I'm not going to do anything about the actual spell, though. This is their opportunity to flash in something. Okay, it's just dying. Okay, consigning that. So I can pierce, and then they can do it again. Wait, did they replicate? They didn't replicate. So I think they're going to go for it again. So for whatever reason, they didn't replicate there. I don't know why. I'm just going to daze this. I think they should have totally replicated that. Had they replicated either of these, like, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Okay. Now they're going to go fetch, and they're going to pay, and then I can force. Maybe I should have just forced first. Maybe that was bad. Okay. So this should let it die now. Okay, they're tapped out. Okay, and we won. Yeah, good game. I think at the end, I should have forced before I dazed, just in case like that mattered. I had the mana to pay for Spell Pierce. I can't remember if I took Spell Pierce. I may have taken Spell Pierce with the Thoughtseize there. Okay, so in this matchup, I think Bowmasters is pretty strong. They're drawing a lot of cards. Is it? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good against Null Drifter deck. Consign does counter some of their creatures. It's not the worst. Let's talk about what's not good here. I don't think Daze is going to be good on the draw. They've got tons of basic lands in their deck. Spell Pierce, we did use it, so they've seen it. I think Spell Pierce is also pretty weak against their deck. Thoughtseize is good. I think everything else is good. Wasteland is definitely pretty bad. We could cut it, but we might need all the mana. I'm okay with cutting on Wasteland just because it's extremely unlikely that we're going to waste them. They just don't have anything worth wasting. We could bring in Lavinia. See, does Lavinia doesn't affect Null Drifter, unfortunately. I think I'd rather have a Consign of Memory. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a decent card against them because it stops all their giant robots. I am worried about Harbinger of the Tide a little bit. This is a frog hand. They have Plow in their hand. I mean, actually, if I can figure out a way to like bait them into like stifling these land, that's not bad. Oh, Consign is really good though because you can replicate, which they didn't do. They should have done. And then there's like no hope in stopping it. If they just replicated even one time, I wouldn't have bothered like throwing all those cards at it. I mean, one of the most likely ways we lose is we get wasted or stifled out of the game. This protects us against both of those possibilities of them just having a quick kill and of them wasting us out of the game. I think we keep it. I definitely leave a comment if you think this is way too passive. And of course, when you keep a 5-lander, you draw a 6th land. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to play this out. I'm not going to do anything this turn, but I'm going to try to like get them to keep one of their lands on tap to stifle it. In reality, I do not care about this land whatsoever. I care about the tempo behind it, but I'm fine with just playing lots of these fetches out and making them keep their stifle up. Bowmasters. Not going to be cast anytime soon. I'm not going to cast that into a cantrip. Because if they tap out completely, maybe. Okay. Doorkeeper's Roll. I think we go get our lands here. And then we can counter the robot with Consign. And we can even counter the trigger too. Yeah, I'm not going to Bowmasters here. Like, getting the extra ping doesn't really matter. Like, in the long run, I'm going to be plowing their freaking giants anyway, so they're going to gain plenty of life back. Bowmasters will be like a turn 5 play or something like that once we're totally stable. If they have a wasteland, they could waste here. We do have the option of plowing the Doorkeeper Troll when the robot is on the stack and making them force that. And then consigning the actual robot if they have already forced. But these first few turns are the only scary turns. After that, the game becomes a little bit more reliable as you get your mana under you. This is definitely a beatable deck. We have the tools to beat this deck. Okay, Wasteland sucks. I'm going to float. If they try to go to the next phase, I'm probably just going to plow now because I don't want them to be able to cast the spell. Okay, that worked. Yeah, you get those off the table. Then you don't have to worry about the other things coming on the table. Okay, this is good. I don't really want to subject any of my stuff to daze. I think we just island pass. We do have Bowmasters up now if they do like an instant brainstorm, but I think they're likely to have a daze. That's fine. Okay, and here comes the monster. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go consign to memory, cast with replicate 1, boom. Okay, so we'll replicate it and both triggers on the stack. All right, and I know they're playing that card, so they know how that works. I am glad I boarded it in for sure. All right. Prismatic Ending would have also done it. Okay, here's what I think we do. I'm just going to frog. And I will hold up blue, which will probably make them think I have another consign or something, but the reality is I just got emergency brainstorm. And this is really here just for daze protection. All right, they have a lot of prismatic endings and plows in their deck, so I imagine this frog is not going to stick around. Yep. I am convinced that Esper Dreadnought is better than Blue-White Dreadnought and better than Blue-Black Dreadnought because you get to play plow and you get to play the frog. They are going to town with these cantrips. They've cost 3 cantrips this game, 2 are 0. Not surprising considering we kept like basically an all in hand. Right, so they may have removal, but it's not prismatic ending here. All right, I think I'm going to crack in. We have brainstorm for force. Oh, are we connecting? This is so good for us. Okay, I'm trying to think. They could be playing something crazy like Wrath of the Skies. Okay, here's what I think we do. I think we just stick a giant Murktide. It'll speed up the clock considerably, and it'll overload their removal. I'm going to tap this because I actively don't want them to waste this. And just in case, heaven forbid, they have double days, I'll just exile my entire graveyard. These decks that we're playing against don't generally play Brazen Borrower because they have Prismatic Ending, which is a more flexible tool. Okay, and I'm not crazy enough to play Bowmasters into a daze here. I just want to represent strength with these colors. Okay, Strand. Big guy. Wrath. Okay, so this is kind of what I was saying. Like, I'm glad I didn't play out the frog. I'm just going to let the frog die here. They just paid a ton of mana to kill a frog. And they're still facing Murktide. That's, 4-turn clock. All right, force is great. I think I just attack here. They do have the ability to regrow their Wrath. Still, I think it's worth playing it out just to further apply pressure. If they regrow the Wrath, that's like a turn that they're taking a hit from my Murktide. I will force to defend my Murktide. I'm the aggressor here. Like, they're going to have a hard time. I'll float white just to confuse them. I have 1 white source left in my deck. Prismatic Ending. I am going to force. I said I was going to force, and I am forcing. All right. Force to protect your frog. That is a lesson I have learned over time. I could buff the Murktide. It shouldn't make any difference to the clock. I'm just going to attack. All right. Draw, please. Blue. No, not blue. Okay. Well, we have Bowmasters, but we don't have anything else going on. I'm just going to chill. They're dead on board. Like, even if they get rid of the Psychic Frog, I can discard Force and I can exile cards from my graveyard. Okay. I think at this point it's totally fine to Bowmaster, and they might have the thing, but it like doing damage and just getting the inevitability. Okay, they're plowing that, which is fine, but they're going to take a lot of damage from this Bowmaster and its army. All right. That's pretty good. Do we play it out? I think we do. It's like literally the last hope we have to plow things. I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to go for lethal here. That seems like a great way to... Well, they have one card in hand. I'm a coward. Hopefully this doesn't end me. Okay, we get a card. Thoughtseize. That seems like a good card. Now we get to take whatever the last card is. Probably a, Phyrexian Dreadnought or something. Oh, it was a Tundra. Okay, so we could have gone for it there. Trying to think of what they... Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They need one more to hardcast a Null Drifter. But Null Drifting into Tundra would be bad. Still no reason to play out the Tundra. I need to make sure it's there if we need an emergency plow. Okay, they're pondering. I will allow it. You're going to get a Bowmaster ping. You're going to grow my army. Actually, yeah, I didn't think about that, but Dreadnought would be death for them. Or, Null Drifter would be death for them. Yeah, and they played a land for turn. They're probably realizing, oh, I'm dead if I play the Null Drifter. And they don't have the mana for it anyway. What is this? Wrath. Yeah, I mean, that's a good card for sure. And they can bring it back too. So they're not dead. Yep, that is a very, very good card here. All right, and the game will go on because I was super conservative. I did draw the Thoughtseize off combat damage, so I didn't know that I was going to be able to have a clear passage. All right, let's see if we can find another threat. Murktide is a threat. And then we've got a Ponder on top if that doesn't work. So I'm going to play this out because oh wait, they're Hellbent. That was dumb. I didn't need to play that out. I'll just play everything out. I'm not going to fake that I have anything. And we'll go, doesn't even really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. It doesn't matter. I could make it bigger, but it will be nice to have something in the graveyard that I can return next turn. This is not going to die to Wrath. They don't have the energy. So they can grow a Plowback, but it'll be too late. Dristan does get them a card closer. If they top deck not Null Drifter, that's the best top deck now. Dreadnought doesn't matter. I'm just going to attack and kill them. Yeah. Good games. All right. So we won that in 2. I feel like the games we won at the end, the final 2 matches were very decisive. And yeah, they were both 2-0s. But the Eldrazi match, I do feel like I threw that. And if you recall that long ago in the video, you can go back and watch it. Like I made a mistake and I'm trying to remember exactly what the mistake was. I'll have to rewatch it. My mind is kind of mush after that. But so this could have been a win, but this maybe could have, like, I can't pinpoint any particular play that I made that was a mistake here that caused me to lose the game. I feel like I played pretty tight. And this, I was just a complete ranching. I just got completely housed. Just completely destroyed, just completely inject, adjective about defeat. I don't know what to do about this matchup. Like, let's take a look at the list. So we're playing a lot of turn 0 removal. We're keeping their graveyard clear. There were lots of points in the game against both those Reanimator opponents when they didn't have anything in their graveyard because I'd been able to plow it or end it. And I still managed to lose. And what was frustrating is, like, one of the players that beat me, like, they had like basically no MTGO record, which says to me that they're like relatively new to MTGO. And the fact that they can still beat me, I mean, maybe they're not new. Maybe they're just new to MTGO and they're really experienced paper players. But like that tells me the power of the deck. When I'm losing to a deck, the worst is when you're losing to a deck and people are playing like making obvious misplays and stuff, and you're still losing. That's when you know the deck is really broken. And that would happen all the time with Old Grief Reanimator. I want to keep playing this because it's fun. I like solving puzzles. I like mongoosing, but like I mean, when it comes to Eternal Weekend, I'm flying all the way out there. I'm getting a hotel. I'm spending like, $100+ to participate in the event, because you have to buy admission to the tournament event, which is really just a big tournament. So it's like you're paying for entry into the tournament twice. And then, it's like between the airfare, between the hotel, between the entry, it's like $1,000, right? And I've been training all year basically on MTGO. I mean, you've seen all the leagues I've been posting. I do not want to go there and just get completely destroyed because I, for ideological reasons, refuse to play a combo deck. I'm a control player. I'm not a combo player. And I mean, I don't even consider Nolder, like the Phyrexian Dreadnought deck to be a combo deck. Yeah, I mean, yes, it does have a combo in it, but it's really much more of a, mid-rangey deck that just happens to have a powerful creature that you can kind of cheat into play. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in love with the idea of playing Reanimator, but here's what I'm going to do. I have convinced myself that it's worth paying like the $50 or whatever to buy the remaining cards that I need to be able to play it on MTGO. I have all the cards in paper. Actually, I don't have any in Tombs because it's a dirty combo player card, but I guess I could pick those up and then I could play it in paper too. But I have everything else. So you're going to see a video on the channel about Blue-Black Reanimator, and please don't like judge me or hate me or anything. Don't be like, oh, couldn't hack it with like the control decks and you had to switch to the overpowered. Like, I do want to win this tournament, or at least, last time I was in the top, like I was 205th out of like 1,000 people, and I'd like to be in the top 64 or something, right? Like, I mean, obviously I'd like to win, but realistically, there are going to be really good players there that have a lot more reps, have a lot better luck, have a lot better instinct, all these different things than me. So if I can even make top 64, I'll be like thrilled with my performance. But I'm not sure that I'm going to make top 64 with a deck like this. Even if I get really, really good at playing this deck and I play test the heck out of it, I feel like I'm still going to randomly just lose to Reanimator just being a far better deck where you can Entomb Reanimate. So yeah, those are my closing thoughts. Again, I wish I could be closing this out like triumphantly. I mean, I feel like I played all right, and there were a few little punts and micro things, but there were very few things where I was like, oh, I just threw the game away. Like, and if you watch my videos, like if you go back and look at like months and months ago, you'll find tons of situations where I just completely threw away games. I think that's happening less frequently now, and a lot of it is thanks to me like hearing from you all in the comments, hearing your thoughts, and you all revealing insights and forcing me to think about how I approach the game. It's a very deep game. There's a lot to be learned. I feel like I'm like just really at the beginning of the journey of really learning how to pilot, like, a Bosch and roll, like Reed Duke, like LSV, like Andrea Mangucci, right? Like the really, really strong players who can just pick up a control deck and destroy with it, like Punishing Waterfalls. I mean, Punishing Waterfalls, amazing watching his videos because he just seems kind of like, oh, I'm just doing this, 62 cards, sure, let's jam it, and then he's just destroying people. And then I pick up like a similar deck and I get destroyed, and that really like shows me how much I have to learn and how a lot of the decision making may not even be articulated. It may not even like be thought. It may just be like after a while you just get such an instinct for knowing what the right play is that you don't even have to like think about it. I mean, that's what Brian Cook of the Epic Storm talks about, is that you go to a tournament and you make like 3 or 4 decisions the entire day because everything else is just like autopilot because you've done it so much. And he puts in the reps. My goodness. He makes me look like I'm totally slouching with my, wife and kids and job and all this stuff. He plays a lot of leagues with the Epic Storm. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this league. Again, I would love to put up a positive record, or even better, 4-1, a trophy maybe someday. But I keep running into these nightmare matchups that I'm doing my best to prepare for. And I'm not sure that I'm getting that much better at fighting them. Like, I do have to fundamentally ask, like, okay, are these decks just simply more powerful? Is just a bad time to be a control player? Let me leave you with one little thing. So we go to MTG top 8. Legacy, here we go. Take a look at this. So aggro, which includes, Eldrazi, of course, and it also includes the tempo deck. I mean, I would consider Dimir Tempo almost more of a control deck, but look, like 15% of the meta is control decks. Like blue-white control, which is like the most popular. It's got 3%, right? Stiflenought has 2% of the meta. Lands has 2%. That is damning that Eldrazi is so out of control But the real culprit here is Reanimator 21%. I mean, even Doomsday is 5%. That's crazy to me. You know, Painter, Breakfast, like Nadu, of course, Mystic Forge. We're seeing all these over and over. Don't generally run into these, but like sometimes I do. I don't know if I've ever played against Infect on MTGO. I'm convinced it's not a very good deck. I understand that there are some players that have really, pushed it to the limit, but yeah. High Tide is another card deck that's just not well positioned. Mississippi River, thank goodness. I haven't played against that since Vexing Bubble was printed. Actually, I might have played against it once or twice since then. But yeah, I mean, like, it really is, tough as a combo player. Because if you think about, like, the control beats aggro and combo beats control is kind of like the old thing. And if you think about it, like, with combo being 54% of the meta, it's really hard to be a good control player. Like, you have to be a really, really good control player to be able to hold a candle to the power of, turn 1 Entomb, turn 2 Reanimate with Daze Protection and extra mana to pay for your days. And, I mean, it's just like, and it's not that rare of an opening. It feels like they're having that opening pretty often. So, and then if they don't have the Entomb, they have the Psychic Frog and they can bin it and they can reanimate it that way. Right. And now they have the Reanimator dude. Let's take a look at these lists. So it is pretty solved. If you think about it, like it's there's not a ton of variation in how they're assembling the deck. Only one Undercity Sewers recently. That's good. I don't have to buy a second Undercity Sewer. Yeah, let's get the Badlands out of here. This is kind of like uncommon and Bayou. I think like almost everybody's just on straight blue-black. You don't want to dilute when you're playing precision combo deck like that. 3 Wastelands. Some people play 4. And then the monsters, Archon and Atraxa. And then, 1 Brazen Borrower usually. This Metamorphosis Fanatic, people are playing 4 of them. That's crazy. But they're just trying to get a feel for whether it's a good card. I mean, it seemed pretty damn good on the other side of the table. Giving, the creature lifelink in addition to everything else. 4 Psychic Frog, of course. Some number of Tamiyo. 0 to 4, but I think most likely, I think it'd be a mistake to not play one of it. It's such a strong card and it can just randomly win and you can catch your opponent unawares. Troll is really strong, obviously. Just Troll plus Reanimate is like an extremely difficult to stop, opening if they don't have Plow. I've never even heard of this card. That is some sick art though. Looks like a Geiger painting or something. Flying Lifelink 9/9. Ward, sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Okay, now they're just putting random, extremely powered abilities on all these creatures. Okay, and then usually 7 reanimate spells is what it looks like. 4 Entombs. I think most people are probably playing 2 Fatal Push, but I mean the luxury of being able to only play 2 Fatal Push because you can just, Entomb, Reanimate Archon and get rid of your opponent's creatures. The fact that their Giant Fatty is also removal is just such a kick in the pants. Double Thoughtseize usually. And then if we look at the sideboard, some people are playing Barrogoyf, which is really strong for, an example of how strong Barrogoyf can be. Watch the Wizards, yesterday's Blue-Red Wizards deck where I just got completely destroyed. That was absolutely brutal. And Barrogoyf, like, I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't have the tools because I didn't have Plow. Plow makes Barrogoyf not a big deal. Plow makes everything not a big deal, but you have to play white for that. And then we got, a couple Consigns. I think 3's right. Punishing Waterfalls was playing 4. And then we got a couple extra Fatal Pushes usually in the side. We've got some Force of Negations, but you don't really need those. You're the combo deck. Just outrun their combo. A Harbinger of the Seas. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like when I build this deck, I'm going to see how it plays against Eldrazi. I mean, it could be that Eldrazi is like an oppressive matchup, or it could be just like a joke. Like, oh, nice Thought-Knots here's an Atraxa. I suspect the latter. I suspect it is like a very favorable matchup up against Eldrazi. I watched Andrea Mangucci. He was down like so much. He had like nothing going on his side of the table, and then he just ripped Reanimate and got on the Atraxa and completely refilled and had a life linker that they couldn't attack through and everything. Like he was like hellbent with like 1 land in play. And he just happened to rip freaking Reanimate and was able to get his Atraxa back even after they had nuked his mana base with Sowing Mecha Spawn once or twice. Word power word kill. This is cool. Destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon creature. I love how they keep printing these like very specific power word kill. I have to read the text here. Aranville? The text says Aramil issued a long, heroic challenge. Then the Lich felled him with a single word. Brutal. Damn, that is some sick art too. You can see that giant like Lich face in the background. And he's like, I'm here to. This is me going up against Rescam with my Swords to Plowshares and my high-minded ideals about Murktide being difficult to kill and all this stuff. Like Murktide being difficult to kill. Have you seen Archon or Cruelty? Yeah. So anyway, these decks are just power word killing me over and over every time I queue into them. People that have never even picked up the deck before, just whoops, you know. Have you ever seen Train Spotting when they're like playing pool and they're trying not to piss off the guy that always gets really pissed when he's like drunk and they're like trying to play pool and he's like just trying his best. Rent, Ewan McGregor's character, is like playing pool and he keeps like just like not looking and shooting the pool cue, like hoping, and then it just like knocks a whole bunch of balls in and the guy's getting so fired up and pissed. Ewan McGregor's just sure that the guy's about to smash a beer over his head. But yeah, that's like those decks against me. They're just, maybe they're not even trying. They're like, oh, what does this Reanimate spell do? Oh, it wins the game against Be Excellent. So anyway, Unlicensed First Gold card too that I did pick up a copy on MTG of. Might be good in the mirror. I'll probably like read on the Discord and try to figure out. I might, just as an experiment, spend a few weeks just playing this deck and just trying to get really good and hopefully getting some trophies for once. And yeah, it's been like, I don't know, like I've gotten a few trophies since Modern Horizons 3 came out, but they've been few and far between. It seems like I always get queued against Eldrazi no matter how well I'm doing, and then I just lose. But anyway, I'll quit whining. I know this is whining, whinging, and the longest sign off ever, but this deck was a lot of fun to play. I'll say that. There were a lot of meaningful decisions, really fun control gaming, and I do feel like in the absence of Eldrazi, if they ban Sowing Microspawn, if they ban Psychic Frog, obviously Psychic Frog's coming out of this deck. This will probably just become a blue-white deck. But I like Tamiyo a lot. I like Murktide a lot in the current meta. And I like being able to just plow stuff and have it never come back. So this is a strong endorse for me, even though my performance was not great. If you're looking for something to play that is not Rescaminator, but is still okay and fun, consider this deck. I do think it's better positioned than the blue-black tempo. And the reason, again, is just Murktide. So hard to get rid of. You don't have to worry about them just like push hits all your threats when you're playing blue-black Murktide or blue-black tempo, except they play two to Murktide. But like constantly having your Netherglyphs and your Murktides fight over the graveyard and stuff, or just like your opponent just gets a giant Psychic Frog and then your Netherglyph just becomes a chumper, or, they start reanimating stuff. I mean, yeah, I think I like this better because, again, this card, this makes all the difference. This is the reason to play white. And it's such a good reason to play white that I think you could probably cut the prismatic endings and you could probably cut the Containment Priest and the Lavinia, and it'd still be worth playing white just for this card to be able to get rid of cards in graveyards. Now, of course, you're going to get in situations where if your deck is blue enough and it doesn't matter that it doesn't have white, it's not a big deal. The trick is splashing white but not fully committing to white, if that makes sense. Anyway, that is my thank you for attending my tech talk here. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.